Okay, howdy folks, welcome back. Here we are, August 25th of 2022. We got the loop playing here, and you can see we've had a little CME right here, and then a halo CME. Now that halo CME is headed away from Earth. That's not an Earth-directed CME, this halo one. I went and checked it on Stereo A, and there's not much data of it, but it does show this halo going the opposite direction of Earth. So that's not an Earth facing halo. But there's something else going on in here that I want to point out here, and just let this loop play for a second, see if you guys can spot anything strange going on. We got all this inflow going on around here, and then all of a sudden right here something appears out here, splits and goes two ways, in and then out, starting right there. So we got another one of these anomalies. What I believe is one of these objects is entering the outer magnetic spheroid, the magnetosphere of the sun, and when it interacts with it, it kind of splashes. This is almost like fluid movement, motion here. So when something interacts, it acts like a little splash, and it happens right down here, right there. Okay, and then we'll go backward and forward through that a little bit, frame by frame and stuff, to kind of show you how this just appears out of nowhere. It didn't have a CME come out. It just starts right here, goes in, and then away at the same time, right there. So what I'm going to do is slide this down a little bit, and then we're going to go backward and forward here. So there it goes backwards, forward, backward. You can see it separating, you can see it coming back together, you can see it separating, coming back together. So it originates around this point right here, separates, and goes in two different directions. Now this is defying the physics that's going on here, and I'm really dare any NASA, or I want to, any specialist to explain what's going on right here, because I don't think they can unless they understand that there's some objects out here that are causing these disruptions, these CMEs. They're entering the magnetosphere and the corona of the sun, interacting with it. You can see it's making a wake over here. And then also, I'm not sure if this camera is going to pick it up, or I'm not going to zoom in too hard, but you can make it out over here on this side. So it's going to start over, and it's not so dark right here, and then you'll see the separation, and it gets really dark in this area. So let me move the pointer. I don't want to go in too tight. Whoops, I hit the wrong reverse. There we go. So watch over here on the red side. You'll see the split, and it gets really dark in that zone. Let's see if the camera's picking it up real quick. I want to go in just a tad bit closer, but sometimes I lose the quality. So I want to want you guys to be able to see it on this red side, because it's visible over here and it creates a shadow. It's not so dark right here. It splits, and then it leaves this dark shadow right there. So it's visible on both instruments here. Then bouncing around in here is this little object again, and let's see, we capture it. Whoops, go a little more. There it was. Back up a little bit. Here we got this object streaking through there again. I'll just go zoom in on it real quick for you guys. And I'll show you that this object's out there zooming around the sun, streaking through, and it was caught in a couple of frames of this series, and this is one of the better ones right here. I'll zoom out a little bit, get rid of that, and then go back to going frame by frame here, because it's captured again later on here, streaking through there. And then also over on this side, the CME that squirts out of here comes out really fast right here. Whoops, not that one, sorry, my bad. I'm looking at the other screen. So this little CME comes flying out of there, and it's really hard to see. I think it was 424. Yeah, this is the frame. I'm going to try to zoom in just a tad bit because you can barely make it out in here, but this object's in there. There's a nice little round core right here. Here's this bubble of energy, this magnetic field or whatever it has around it. Let's see, maybe we can get in just a tad bit closer for you guys and scooch it up. All right, here's the round little core. And then let's see, we'll go frame ahead. Here you can see it again. It's very faint, but it's right there. And this little black dot right here appears like maybe it has some little moon of its own. But it's very faint. Here it's on in here now. It's caused the instrument to bow on the back side of this object as it moves out. Here you can see it very faintly. The last frame here moving out. So there was an object that was caught in that event too. But let's go over here while I got this zoomed in real quick to this side and watch this go backward. See how it's disappeared now? And then all of a sudden it opens up from that spot and goes in two different directions. And they're backwards, back together. And then there it goes opening up again. So, yeah, another time that this anomaly has been captured, and you know, it defies the regular physics of what's going on here and begs explanation. You know, and I think you know, we deserve an explanation from these guys. What's really going on? Because there's something other than normal activity going on here. So that was today, and let's go back yesterday because we had a little activity yesterday as well. So let this load up for a second as it goes here. Grab a sip real quick. And as this loads up, that little white craft is dancing around over here again. It's streaking up here. It's been captured a couple of times. Here, let me back out again so you can see both screens as this loads up. Let me get repositioned while this is loading up. And you can see they blocked out a bunch of stuff. But come on, turkey, hurry up and load up. Let's just try this one more time. See if we can get it going a little quicker. Alright, here's the object that was captured here in this event right here. As it's loading up, we can see it very faintly moving out. You can see it streaking and trailing plasma behind it. There's some kind of little bow shock energy going on right here that develops towards the end here. And then this image right here, that's what we're going to go back and visit once this is done loading up. So it appears there was some kind of object right there at the end. It had a little bow shock forming on the back side of it. And let me pull this down so you guys can see all this activity real quick. I'll let the loop go a couple of times. And then we got this frame with all the streaks going through it. And we've had that before, but something different about this one. So when we go through this loop, you can see that object moving out, something slowly moving, creeping out there, building up a bow shock behind it. So there's this first one, then something creeping right down there. Okay. Now let's find that frame and pause on it for a minute here. Okay. So here we are at this frame with all the streaks and everything. Now, this only happens for about 10 minutes, and it appears that there is some kind of debris field or something streaking between the sun and this satellite. And it's being illuminated by the sun. And if you look at here, some of these streaks that go across, you see these streams of light coming out of the sun. Do you see how the sun highlights these streaks as they interact with the rays of the sun coming out here? So there is something streaking through here. And as we go in close on some of these here, I'm just going to bring this over and start zooming in a little bit. Because I'm looking at these streaks, and a lot of them are Can you see this one right here? Maybe I need to zoom in just a tad bit more. Anyways, they seem to be going from this and streaking up in this direction. Now, most of the time I've seen them kind of going left to right. I've never seen them at such a steep angle. Now, if this is debris and it's moving in between the camera and stuff, it is coming from a southerly direction at a 45-degree angle heading north. Here's another streak down here. Let's see if I can zoom in on this one so you guys can see that these streaks are all kind of directional. They're all going the same direction here. All right, there we go. Now can you see this one right here? The tip of it's right there and it's streak of material behind. A lot of these other ones are going this direction and have a tip just like this, my indicator, with the tail streaking back this way. So they all appear to be going from the bottom left up this way in that direction. Let me back out. I was just trying to zoom in on that one streak so you can see the direction that all of these are heading. They're not just regular streaks. Some of them have a tip and a tail. Some of them streak all the way through. Some of them are partial streaks. But then here they interact. Let me go over here again with the magnifier, because over here they interact with the rays of the sun. Right down here. Get rid of this real quick. See how the streaking rays of the sun are coming out, and see how they've illuminated the streaks more as they go through these rays. So that tells me that there's something streaking through there, leaving, this is evidence that something is streaking through there. And this was only captured in one frame, so it could have been, these are 10-minute frames, so it could have been, anywhere from a 10 to 20-minute event. It could have started at the very beginning of this and ended at the very end of this. So about a 10-minute event, maybe. So something streaked through there and at a sharp angle. So now I'm looking for activity that might be coming out of the south going north. So look for stuff in the southern hemisphere, possibly, or heading, going in the direction of the southern hemisphere towards the northern, crossing it. Like, that's almost a good 45-degree angle from the corner to the corner. So yeah, 45 degrees off of the streaks. Used to go kind of left and right, or I've never seen them, like I said, at such a steep angle like this. So I had to bring this to you because this is another one of these oddities that we're seeing going on around our sun. And we'll go through, the next few frames. That was kind of the end. Nope. There's a few last frames. And you can make out this little event over here. It's very faint, but whoops, let's go right here. We have a nice V-shaped bow shock. You can almost make out curvature on the back of this. Here comes this object streaking through here again. I mean, there's got to be some kind of like Star Wars or something going on around our sun. Because let me zoom in on this. Here's a little star, but then I'm talking about this long streak. I don't know if my computer is very good at picking this stuff up, but anyways, I'll try it one more time. Yeah, there it goes. Picks it up a little bit. Here's these long streaks, these objects out there streaking around, dancing around. Looks like they're shooting at each other or whatever, while all this other solar activity is going on. So let's go last 3 frames of this day, and then we'll put it back into motion. Let's scoot it down a little bit. A lot of digital disruptions there with all the little cubes and everything, kind of obscuring this first object, but you can make out the round shape and the way it streaks material out behind it. There's some kind of core in there. It's very faint. A lot of these things are surrounded by plasma, so it's hard to see. And we still got these streaks that just jam through there for 10 minutes and then disappear. And sometimes I would think, they might be reflections off the camera or inside the camera and stuff. But the way they interacted with these bright streaks right here just kind of, it just didn't look right. Something's not right with that. It looks like something actually did streak through there. At the time, this object is in that vicinity. The first one that moves out right there, boom. As soon as it gets out of frame and gets close to the satellite, that's when these things streak through. Boom. So, had to bring that to you guys. There's been a little strange activity still going on around our sun. Not so many huge CMEs coming our way and everything, but we did have another Halo CME that was on the backside, so we don't have to worry about that one per se. Let's see if it'll load it up one more time. If not, yeah, there we go. Let's see if we can get today's loaded up one more time. We'll close out with today's. What else is I going to point out in here? If it'll load. My computer's getting slower and slower each time I use it, so hopefully it'll hang out so we can continue to do videos here. Let me try reloading it here real quick. It's going in spits and sputters, but here's this little object jetting out real quick in the CME, already out of there. Here's this halo forming, but going away from Earth, headed the opposite way. I'd show you stereo A, but it doesn't have much to show. It just shows us a brief little halo going away from Earth. So that one I don't think is Earth directed. And we're almost done here. Oh, maybe not. Then there was this weird event down here that would just happened. And we're passing. Come on, computer, hurry up. Thank you for bearing with me, you guys. I'm not the high-tech YouTuber who has all these fancy... There's the other streak right there going through. I don't have all the fancy equipment and everything. I got a limited budget, and I got to do it this funky way of using my phone, recording my old broken-down computer, but it still manages to work, so by the grace of God, I think I have, by a shoestring budget, I'm able to do this, so... Oh, we're almost there. Come on, hurry up, computer. We got about 5 more frames to go, 6 more frames here. Yes, I'm low on disk space. That's my problem. I got so much stuff in this computer. I actually filled it up. Okay, there we go. Now it's going back into motion. The main anomaly that we were covering is this event down here. It just appears here and separates and goes in 2 directions right there. The shadow casts over here on this side as well. So it's obviously some kind of object has entered the lower half here. The sun's magnetosphere has probably layers and shells as it goes further out from the center of the sun. Each ring, concentric ring, has little boundaries, and as this thing comes in and breaks one of those boundaries, it splashes like a little rock on the water and leaves a little wake. So you'll see it splash right there and then move in and go interact with the sun. Right after the separation, there's a little CME over here, or a little something squirts out. Boom. But you can't see it. I was wondering if maybe that's that object coming in, ripping around the sun or something, and comes squirting out. So obviously something entered right here, created this little splash. There it is, the splash, and then it moves in towards the sun, leaving a dark shadow over on this side, leaving a streak and leaving a shadow. So it's obviously some kind of object that's doing this. So, and this defies all the astrophysics. I dare anybody at NASA to explain this without having to admit that there's some kind of object causing this. So this is evidence that those things are here and that they're interacting with our sun. When we see weird behavior like this that can't be explained as a normal CME, there it goes again. And I'm going to do this one more time just before we close out. I'm going to go backward and forward with it so you can see it separate and come back together. Separate, back together. So you can see its point of origin is right about there, which is way off of the sun. There's no CME right there. This thing just all of a sudden starts and appears right there and just travels in towards the sun and leaves a wake that catches in the solar wind and trails out behind it. It's crazy. I mean, this is some kind of, I mean, this is evidence that this is what's happening. I, I, I don't see any other explanation for, that could explain this. Some ejecta does leave the surface of the sun, but if you look over here at this white circle, that's the size of the sun. The red and the black are the occulter on the camera that cover the sun so it doesn't blind the camera. But this white circle represents the size of the sun. Most of the ejecta never make that returns to the sun can barely pass this white line. It's very, small. It never really reaches out that far. This is way, way out there, and it's emanating from off the sun and heading in towards it. So there's that. Anyways, I love you guys. I miss you all. I appreciate you all that come out and show me love, and please leave comments. I can link you guys to more information. I have so much stuff on my channel that it's hard to put it all together. So if somebody wants a little guided tour, leave a comment and I'll help you guide you through this channel so you'll understand more. So that's it for tonight. I love you all. I miss you all. God bless you all. And until my next video, bye. My Cindy Lou.